began to grow weird. I was worried because no matter how hard I pinched myself, I couldn't wake up. Because it wasn't a dream. My sister Rebecca was dealing with anorexia, an eating disorder that caused her to voluntarily starve herself. I remember how helpless I felt. I was only 10 years old, and I knew what she was doing, but I didn't know what I could do to help. Today, I hope to give hope to anyone in this room who is currently dealing with anorexia, or who will know someone who will be dealing with it in the future. I'll look at, first of all, what we need to know about anorexia, and secondly, what we did to cause it, and finally, what we must do to address it. And foundationally, we will see that anorexia is created and propagated by lies. So first of all, we'll see what we need to know about anorexia. According to the Mayo Clinic, anorexia nervosa is a potentially life-threatening eating disorder that is based on a distorted perception of size and weight, a fear of gaining weight, and an intense fear of becoming fat. Then in her book, Almost Anorexic, Dr. Jennifer Thomas talks about the fact that 1 in 200 American adults deals with anorexia. But 1 in 10 teenage girls has at least some of the symptoms. The book describes one of them named Jenny Schaefer. Ever since she was 4 years old, every time Jenny looked in the mirror, a voice in her head would tell her that she was fat. She named this voice ED, or ED, for eating disorder. An average morning for Jenny went something like this. Ed would say, "Your legs are fat." She would think, "I know. Skip lunch today." Okay. Eventually, Ed started to control Jenny's entire diet and life. Now, I'm all for maintaining a healthy body and even avoiding certain foods. But anorexia is antithetical to good health because it deprives the body of vital nutrients and energy. According to the Mayo Clinic and the National Institute of Mental Health, anorexia can lead to problems developing behavioral issues, suicidal thoughts and depression, anxiety, infertility, brain damage, multi-organ failure, and even death. My sister Rebecca recounted, quote, "Eventually I think I concluded that I would die, but I didn't really care." Clearly, anorexia is a serious problem, but now we'll see what we did to create it. Now, I will note that there are some biological risk factors. For example, having a history of eating disorders in your family makes you 12 times more likely to develop one yourself, according to the Eating Disorders Review. However, these existing risk factors are amplified by insurmountable cultural expectations. As Fred Peterson, Jerry Kramer, and Robert Golden note in their book, The Truth About Eating Disorders, the average fashion model is skinnier than 98% of women. Our perception of beauty is distorted. It's distorted by media, entertainment, culture, advertising, social media, and by Photoshop. As psychoanalyst Hildy Bruce wrote in her groundbreaking 1977 book, The Golden Cage, sometimes high expectations from parents can lead to children feeling like they have to be perfect. In essence, they feel like they have no choice except to starve themselves in order to be perfectly thin. However, the tipping point for many people that drives them into anorexia is often a series of emotionally traumatic, deeply life-scarring events. At her old church, Rebecca faced routine confrontation from adults and bullying from her peers. And then one day, completely unexpectedly, she found out that some of her closest friends were being molested by their father. Rebecca recounted, "I think the numbness and complete loss of emotion that accompanies severe malnutrition helped me deal with the conflict." Clearly, the lies empowering anorexia have devastating consequences. But now we'll see what we can do to address them. First of all, if anyone in this room is currently dealing with anorexia, I urge you to get help, to ask those around you who love you for help when you need it. Make a list of people to call and use it. Don't deceive the people who love you most. Secondly, don't believe the lie that your identity is found in achieving perfection, because perfection does not exist. We are all broken humans waiting for the final redemption. just some people are better at editing their Instagram pictures. And finally, literally throw away your skin. But for the rest of us, what can we do? The first thing to do is to remember that anorexia is the most deadly mental disorder. Up to 20% of individuals without treatment will die. And so if it's your place, get help for this person as soon as possible. Thankfully, my sister Rebecca was able to make it out to a recovery ranch in Arizona, where she found critical healing and counseling. As they're recovering, let's make sure that we're there for them, always ready to listen to them, that we're praying for them. We don't rush to assumptions, but that we are always there when they meet us. And of course, never say anything derogatory about anyone's life. Thankfully, Rebecca was able to make a full recovery, and today she's a healthy person, but certainly not fat, just in case anyone was worried. And that's because overcoming anorexia isn't foundationally about regaining weight. It's about overcoming the lies. That's the key thing I want everyone to remember. That anorexia is created and propagated by lies. Lies saying that you have to be perfect, that you have no choice except to starve yourself, that you have to be perfectly thin. But thankfully, the key to overcoming these lies is to do what Jenny Schaefer talked about in her book, Life Without Ed, where she wrote that the key for her to overcome her eating disorder was to recognize the lying voice of the Ed in her head and to disagree with his lies and choose to disobey. The antidote for the lies is the truth. The truth that all of us are inherently valuable, not because we might have a picture-perfect body, but because we are made in the image of God. As Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free."